We find the defendant guilty, Your Honor.
We'll get you out, Kenny! You hear me?
It's called Conviction, Hilary Swank's new movie directed by Tony Goldwyn. The story of Betty Ann Waters and featuring among the fine cast, actress Julia Lewis, and they're all here today. And let me just start with Betty Ann. The subject of this film is your decision as a single mom to actually put yourself through law school, which took you how long?
Well, I had to go to undergrad school first, so a total of 12 years of school.
12 years of school, so you could go to bat for your brother Kenny, who'd been wrongfully convicted and imprisoned for murder. And I'm sitting watching this film saying, seriously, this is a true story? I mean, did you have a high school education when you came to this decision?
I had a GED.
You had a GED?
Yes.
And you decided, and you hadn't even any interest in the law at all?
No, not at all. Not at that point, no. No, that's not the reason. The reason was for my brother.
Yeah. Tony, when you saw this story, first of all, how did you hear about this case?
I heard about my wife saw a piece on Dateline about it.
Yeah.
And I just got fascinated with the story, and I was really moved by the idea of a woman who spent 18 and a half years on an act of faith and her brother, and I wanted to know about that. I just was fascinated by it.
Yeah. So when you were casting about, of course, for someone to play, did you have any input into the casting Hilary Swank to play you?
No, but if I did, I would have definitely picked her.
And why not? I have to say that one of the scene stealers in the movie is Juliette Lewis's scene where she plays, I guess I could describe you as trailer trash, huh?
I guess. Well, as you wish. I think she's a fascinating person, a compulsive liar. But what was interesting to me is that you see her at two stages of her life. Once when she's very younger and she's on the witness stand and she helped, put Kenny away by lying under oath. And then you meet her 18 years later and you sort of see the damage and the turn her life has taken and living with that guilt and shame and alcoholism, really. So it was really amazing for me to try to show so much of the story in just two scenes, and Tony was integral in guiding me through all that rich emotion, because she's a world of contradictions, and I've never played something so complicated in such a short period of time, so that was really intimidating and exciting.
Betty, this was for you and for your family, obviously, a really traumatic thing, but then your life is so different, I would imagine now, than when this happened. I mean, would you rather it had never happened to your brother?
Of course. I mean, I would rather that he never went to prison. Absolutely.
But I mean, the growth that you had as a person as a result of trying to fight this, like, it really changed you too, right?
It has changed me, and I'm fortunate at this point that I'm in a position now that I can help other people like my brother that are innocent in prison. Hopefully they'll see this movie and they'll understand that there are a lot of innocent people in prison. They're not all guilty, and open their eyes to maybe do something about the justice system. And I do work with the Innocence Project, so I'm really happy to be in the position I'm in now, that I'm fortunate to be able to help people. But I didn't like the way I got there.
Yeah. The police officer who lied. I mean, that to me is the most stunning thing about this, that you had a cop who was so desperate to get a conviction that she literally lied. Did we ever find out more about her or why she did it?
Well, you know that really is up to interpretation. I mean, Nancy Taylor, played by the great actress Melissa Leo. Nancy Taylor got a bone in her teeth and refused to let it go and just decided that she was going to get Kenny. And she did some extraordinarily unethical and I would say illegal things to do it. So, but the truth is she's gotten away with it. She was, after an 8-year fight following Kenny's release, Betty Ann and Barry Scheck won a civil suit proving that Nancy Taylor had perjured herself. And but the statute of limitations had run, and she's a retired grandma, still believing that DNA evidence is bunk and that she that she was a hero. Am I wrong, Betty Ann?
No, you're absolutely right. And just to make matters worse for Nancy Taylor, there was another person that was released 2 years after my brother. He spent 19 years in prison, and DNA released him, and Nancy Taylor was a police officer that coerced witnesses there also.
To lie about him as well.
To lie. So, I mean, she's just not a good woman. She's a bad person.
Julia, was this super eye-opening to you, just to, find out that there's this whole world of people in jail who shouldn't be in jail?
Absolutely. This is one of those dream projects that you wish for, just to do something this, to be a part of something so relevant and eye-opening, as you say, it to shine a light on this injustice. You hope for such a thing because movies have the power to do that, you know, not just tell comic book stories or vampire love stories, but to do something really moving and enriching, and it was an experience, I think, for all of us to honor such a story, and I think people are walking away from this movie feeling that way, feeling uplifted, and we were just in another interview where the whole, actually the radio interview, I did it earlier this morning, they were saying, I called my brother in the middle of the night, you know, just to say I love you, and it really is this incredible love story, yeah.
Just a technical question, Juliet, for you. You're a glamorous woman. What did they do to make you look so bad in that scene?
A really incredible makeup and hair department. But really, it's also one of the pleasures for me in acting is to try to change the energy inside, you know, sort of deaden that joy, because she's not obviously a joyful personality. So it's sort of inside out or outside in, but it eventually had to marry both those elements. So the outside, they got, you know, we did the fake teeth. The hair and makeup were so wonderful because they were really subtle. We didn't want you to be thinking about that. You just sort of accept the reality of this person.
You were instantly, your character was instantly recognizable when you popped on the screen. Betty Ann, you don't practice law now. I mean, having gone to law school to get your brother out after his wrongful conviction, that was your only case?
That's it, except the Innocence Project. I do help them.
Well, you are batting 1,000%.
That's
so
right.
You might just, like,
That's right. Well, what happened to Kenny afterwards?
Unfortunately, Kenny had a fatal fall 6 months into his freedom.
That's something. So 6 months after you got him out.
Right, 6 months. But Kenny lived an incredible 6 months. We did all the morning shows. We were on Oprah. He was having a very good time. He'd go to clubs. He would talk. He held court everywhere he went, and he would talk to people. And he would call me up and say, "Betty Ann, come here. People want to meet my sister." And I would say, "It's midnight, Kenny, and I'm in bed." You know, but he was having a good time for 6 months. So.
And I guess you're proof that anybody who wants to be a lawyer and really wants to do it can do it.
I think they can.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's been great to meet you.
Oh, thank you.
Juliet, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Everybody should go to the
Great
Innocence
film.
Project's website, by the way.
Yeah, InnocenceProject.org.
It will blow your mind, seriously.
The director, one of the actors, and the subject of Conviction, Hilary Swank's latest. Think she's going to get an Academy Award for that? Tony?
From your mouth to God's ears.
It's 10:57. This is the Dave Ross Show with Luke Burbank, who's going to take over for the next hour. I've got to go.
Keeping you connected to the Northwest and the world. News Talk 97.3.